Hi everyone, hope you're well. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to quickly talk about silent reflux and breastfeeding. So I still haven't quite plucked up the courage to talk on camera fully about our silent reflux journey so far, just because it's still very raw and I feel like I'm still suffering from it, and obviously we're still in the midst of it. We're in a much better place, but I don't want to come on camera and just be really emotional about it. I want to come on and speak about it so that I can help someone else just by sharing our experience. So I've written a blog post on it and that was kind of emotional enough. So yeah, I thought if I just talked about silent reflux and breastfeeding first, and then I get back to just what's happened with us with silent reflux, possibly in a week or two. I think that would be fine. I want to gather my thoughts and make sure I'm talking about what I want to talk about rather than just getting silly and emotional and not making any sense. So yeah, just to quickly say first of all as well, I'm obviously not a doctor and I have no medical experience, so this is just my opinion and what I've found has been happening in our case. Please don't take it as gospel. Please don't take it as it's the way things should be done, or that I'm even remotely right about what I'm saying. I'm literally just telling you my experience and my opinions, and that is it. Silent reflux and breastfeeding. So I never thought that I would actually be able to breastfeed this time around. I had huge issues the first time around with Isla. Only lasted a few weeks, not even that actually, a couple of weeks, a week, whatever it was. And this time around I had the same issues, but for some reason managed to power through, and just feel like everything has been against me ever since. So very quickly, in a nutshell, he wouldn't latch. He didn't latch for a month. I exclusively expressed for a month and fed him with a bottle, so that was hard going. So it's expressing every 3 hours for half an hour each time, and obviously with the stress and everything, sometimes I wasn't getting enough, and then it's just this vicious cycle of being stressed and your supply and worrying and But anyway, we powered through that. He eventually latched, and then I think a couple of weeks later was when we found out he had silent reflux. He just ticked all the boxes. I'd never heard of it before. I didn't even know such thing existed. I'd heard of reflux, I knew like the whole being sick and everything, but I'd never heard of silent reflux. But yeah, I definitely know what it is now. But in terms of breastfeeding, so a lot of the time with silent reflux, breastfeeding is a pain because, well, not pain, that's the wrong word, but a lot of the problem is that breast milk is easily digestible. So obviously if they've got a lot of acid problems in their tummy and they're bringing a lot of stuff up, it's kind of harder if you're breastfeeding and giving them breast milk to keep everything down, and it's not as thick as formula, it's not as I don't know what the word is, it maybe just doesn't neutralize your stomach as easily. So that's one thing. That was the first thing that was a bit of an issue, and I remember the first time I was at the doctor's they said, oh well, eventually you might have to look at going to formula. Then I spoke to my health visitor, they were like, oh no, you shouldn't have said that, blah blah. And I'm equal either way. I'm not fussed. I like I breastfeed. I don't mind breastfeeding. Haven't got to the stage of loving it yet, even though I'm 5 months in. So I breastfeed and I bottle fed, and they both are equal to me. I don't care either way. It doesn't bother me. So this isn't a video that's saying that, oh, breastfeeding's better, but then I've had such a hard time because he had silent reflux, but I still powered through breastfeeding because I really wanted to do it. It's more just that breastfeeding's worked this time for us. I'm going with it, but I wouldn't be fussed if I had to turn around and give him bottles tomorrow, if you know what I mean. So just throwing that out there first. So yeah, the whole thing with the milks, obviously not being able to keep things down as easily, not knowing how much he's having was a bit of an issue at the beginning, and also one of the first things, well, they gave me ranitidine originally, which is fine because that's the liquid, and I gave it to him in a syringe, and that seemed to work really well for a little while, 2-3 weeks, and then it stopped working completely. So they thought, oh well, let's try Carabao, which is basically a thickener, and usually if you're bottle feeding you'd add it to your bottle and then you'd feed them the bottle, and that would be that. Obviously with breastfeeding you can't do that, and it comes in a powder that thickens, or like it thickens it to a gel. So you either have to express and put it in, or express a bit, add it, make a gel, give it to them, feed them, or take cooled boiling water, make a gel, give it to them, feed them yourself. So yeah, it was a complete and utter faff, absolute nightmare when we were out and about. I was having to bring like a sterilised little salad dressing pot with the Carabao in it to then either try and express in a toilet and then make the gel up and give it to him, then feed him, or bring cool boiled water, or try and get cool boiled water off of whatever cafe we were in. So yeah, it was just a bit of a faff, to be honest. That's the best word I can come up for. It was an absolute pain. So that was another negative thing with silent reflux and breastfeeding. We literally only lasted a few weeks on the Carabao. It didn't make much of a difference anyway in our case, so I just stopped it because it was just too much of an effort. If I had been bottle feeding, I probably would have carried on with it, and it might have worked better, I don't know. It's just because if you're trying to feed a baby who's only a few weeks old, there's gel in their mouth. It's almost like baby rice. They're just not taking it in properly, whereas if they're drinking it in a bottle, it probably goes in a lot better and actually works. So anyway, so yeah, we gave up on the Carabao. So next up is the infant Gaviscon. So that basically comes in a sachet, which is powder again, and you have to either add it to bottles, but if you're not bottle feeding, it's a case of the same thing as the Carabao. It's either using cooled boiled water and mixing it in. We have a little shot glass we carry about, which looks hilarious sometimes, especially when we're like handing it over in Costa, being like, oh, can we get some boiling water in this please? And they're like, okay, you want a shot of boiling water? But yeah, so we do that, and you have to like mix it up, then cool it down, then give it to them. And if they're screaming to be fed, it's a long process rather than just shoving it in a bottle and giving them the bottle and then the job is done. Or you can use express milk, which I was doing for quite a while when I had loads in my fridge, but now it's all in my freezer, so I'm just kind of going down the boiled water route. But yeah, that's another pain with silent reflux and breastfeeding. Another thing is that silent reflux babies tend to, when they're in a really bad patch with their reflux, they comfort feed a lot, which I guess they wouldn't really do if they were formula fed. They would have their bottle and then have a dummy. Lachlan, for love or money, will not take a dummy. Like, he will, like, oh, it's hard. Some days he will take a dummy and he'll have it, but other days he just pushes it around his mouth and it makes him look like he's got some sort of tongue tie. I don't really know. And it just, he just can't seem to keep it in his mouth, and he's 5 months old now, so, and I've tried every dummy under the sun. But yeah, silent reflux babies, if they're in a really bad patch, comfort feeds. So if you're breastfeeding, that means that you're sat there all the time, which is lovely. It's a lovely bonding thing, but when it's all day every day and you can't get anything done, and then obviously your nipples get really sore and you get really like your supply goes all funny because your body's like, whoa, how much do we need? And then you have too much, and then when they're fine, you've got like these boobs out here and they're really sore and you have to express loads, but then you don't want to keep your supply up. So yeah, that's another like little hurdle in the old silent reflux breastfeeding journey. And my last one, and my main one, it doesn't apply in all cases of silent reflux. I think my health visitor quoted something like 70% of silent reflux babies also have a cow's milk protein allergy or intolerance, and that seems to be the case with us. So this is my biggest thing that is sort of like about silent reflux and breastfeeding, is when you have to be dairy free. I've been dairy free for 5 months now, and everyone's like, oh, do you feel better for it? Does your skin feel good? Have you lost weight? No, my skin doesn't feel any different and I've lost no weight, so I'm not even like gaining from it in any way, apart from the fact that my baby's more comfortable, of course. But I had to go over Christmas with no cheese, no chocolate, and for some reason all I want to do is drink glasses of milk now. I never drink glasses of milk before. I had to be dairy free. It's one of those can't have it so really want it sort of situations. I also am now obsessed with pizza. I want pizza all the time, and I liked pizza before, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't obsessed, whereas now I am obsessed with pizza. So we order Domino's gluten-free base because it has no dairy, and I basically have a pizza with tomato sauce and ham and mushrooms and vegetables on it. So yeah, being dairy free it's all right. Like, once you get into the swing of it, it's when you have to be dairy free and soya free. I tried that for a few weeks and you can literally barely eat anything, and it didn't make a huge difference to Lachlan, so I now kind of eat it in moderation. I don't triple check everything I'm eating because nearly everything has soy in it. But it's just little things that make it more of a pain, isn't it? Like not having, you'd be surprised how much dairy's in, to be honest. Even loads of crisps have dairy in them. All sorts of things you wouldn't imagine have dairy in them do, and you have to constantly be checking. And I know fine well if I've eaten something by mistake, because he has like explosive nappies and they're green and it's water, and he just isn't very comfortable. So yeah, being dairy free would be my last biggest sort of negative point about silent reflux and breastfeeding, I guess. So yeah, who knows where our breastfeeding journey is going. We're just kind of going with the flow. His silent reflux is kind of, I don't want to jinx it, touch wood, managed at the moment with just his ranitidine and his infant Gaviscon, and I have probiotic drops as well, but I will do a separate video when I come around to it, talking all about his silent reflux in general. This is just about breastfeeding and silent reflux. So hope you've enjoyed this quick little video, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and give us a big thumbs up. So thanks for watching, see you later, bye.